Today is part 2 of the interview with my oldest daughter, Sage, who turned 18 in March and is finishing up her last year in 4-H. We talk about the lessons she's learned raising livestock, how it has affected her and her life view, the way it opens communication as we work together, and she even has a bit of advice for parents who want to give their kids the same experience. This is part 2 of 2, and the first part aired last week. You don't want to miss this. Hey friends, welcome to the Get Goatwise podcast. Are you longing to raise goats and other animals for food but don't know where to start? Do you want to be more self-sufficient and less dependent on the grocery store? Do you wish you had a mentor to walk you through raising livestock? Hi, I'm Millie, animal scientist, cattle girl turned goat rancher, co-owner of Dry Creek Livestock, and simple living enthusiast. For 15 years, I've been on a mission to raise all of our own meat, eggs, and dairy. Here, we'll talk about raising goats and other homestead livestock, how to create sustainable animal management systems that actually work, and a bit of off-grid life with kids and livestock. If you're ready to take control of your food supply, raise livestock with confidence, and provide your family with the most nourishing meat, eggs, and dairy available, you're in the right place. Kick off your muck boots, pour a cup of coffee, and let's talk livestock. Hey friend, do you want to hang out with like-minded folks who are also interested in raising their own livestock and seeking self-sufficiency? Inside the free Raising Goats and Homestead Livestock community, you'll get tips on raising goats and other livestock and ideas to increase your self-sufficiency. Join now at bit.ly/getgoatwisecommunity. You can also become an insider and get weekly emails from me with the latest podcast episode, tips on raising goats and other livestock, real-life information about self-sufficiency and living off-grid, and early bird access to special offers. Sign up at bit.ly/getgoatwiseinsider. On to the interview. Why don't you talk about what happened with your pig last year?
That one was interesting. Really sweet pig. She was a fairly decent hog too, as far as being a market hog.
Yeah, we were excited about how she would do in market. She looked really good.
She had a vaginal prolapse, and we stitched it up on our own once, and it didn't work. It did rip out, and she started prolapsing again. We took her to the vet. He stitched her up. It ripped out as well. So we finally got her spayed, because she'd go into heat, basically, and just kept prolapsing. We got her spayed, spent the money on the vet bills to get her spayed, and then she was doing great, healthy. I walked her, and then 2 weeks before fair, she died.
And that was devastating.
Yeah.
Because she was doing so good. She didn't give any indication that anything was wrong or there was a complication from the surgery. And so she had lived, I think, 6 weeks after the surgery.
Yes, I believe so.
So then what did we have to do?
I had to use the alternate pig. She was not very fun to show, kind of a crazy pig. And I worked with her for those next 2 weeks and showed her at the county fair that year.
But I was glad we had her, because otherwise you just wouldn't have had a pig.
Yeah.
So that worked out. And you did a phenomenal job. You still won Grand Champion Showman, even with the pig you'd only worked with for 2 weeks. Yeah. I actually thought Ray was going to beat you.
I expected him to beat me, honestly.
He was doing really well.
I didn't expect to win. Not that I do every year anyways, but I was really not expecting to do that well with her.
Yeah. So tell me about work ethic and some of the things you've learned related to work and hard work and getting the job done.
You just gotta really buckle down and do it, whether you want to or not. That's all aspects of life where you gotta work.
I think that was like when you were younger, it was a lot harder, right? We were in the teaching mode of that. And I think one of the rules we instituted when you were little to make sure that chores got done was that your animals had to be fed first. before you could have breakfast.
Yeah.
And the reason we did it, I know some people will draw back at that and maybe think that's on the edge of abuse. The reason we did that is that the animals can't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
We have them in a pen. They can't go to the fridge and get their food. They can't take care of themselves. And so we have a responsibility to take care of them. So just like moms feed their kids first, these kids take care of their animals first. Mm-hmm. And it became a really, really good way to make sure that the chores got done. And I think you kids felt better about that too.
I still have that habit. I don't eat much before chores.
Right. If the kids want to eat before they do chores, though, they are more than welcome to get up early and eat. But when it's time to do chores, it's time to do chores. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works pretty good. Mm-hmm. So we went through, your younger years, just like with your siblings, that we reminded a little bit, but I didn't ever want to be like, I didn't want you to ever rely on me to remind you to do chores. Do you remember what we did when you were little and you wouldn't do your chores or did not get your chores done for whatever reason?
I
do not remember.
Probably not.
So I would charge you for my time to do your chores. I would not nag you. I would remind you for a day or two to do them. But then if you weren't remembering on your own, I would just do the chores and then I would bill you. And you were so little. And I had this bill on the fridge and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then at the end of the week, you had to pay me the amount at the bottom. And honestly, the reason you probably don't remember it is because we only did that. It only took a week, maybe 2 of doing that. And you were like, I'm on it. I am doing my chores.
I don't remember it.
It worked really well. It was effective. And we didn't have to fight. Mm-hmm. It eliminated any nagging or any other thing. And so that worked really, really well. So Sage, community service is a big part of the 4-H program. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell me about kind of what your service projects have looked like through the years, which ones were your favorite, and what service looks like for you now in your later years of 4-H?
Mm-hmm. So the first several years, we would clean a widow's yard for the 4th of July. She always wanted it to look nice for the 4th, so our 4-H clubs would go together and clean it for her and make it look all nice. We also would gift wrap at our local farm store. We would gift wrap for free, but we had a tip can there so that if anybody wanted to donate money, they could put it in the tip can.
Okay, I'm going to divert just a little bit because I want to talk about those tips a little bit and what the club has decided to do with those tips. Mm-hmm. Last year, I think, was really the first time we had truly done a big donation with the mm-hmm. tips rather than doing something to benefit the club. So why don't you tell them what we did last year?
It was your college friend?
College roommate. Her
husband died during their county fair, and their kids have 4-H Livestock as well. We donated the money to them. We boosted them last year.
Right. That was such a terrible accident, so it was a really great opportunity for us to kind of help them out. Mm-hmm. And then this year, what are we doing? It obviously hasn't happened yet. This episode will air the Monday of Fair Week. So what will we be doing on Thursday and Friday?
We're going to be serving breakfast burritos to the 4-H members and the office, the people who work in the 4-H office, and hopefully kind of bring people together and bring the competitive tension down a little bit.
Right. There'll be enough there for all the parents.
Yes.
All the exhibitors, all the office staff, judges, and everybody. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty big investment for our club.
Yes, it is.
But I loved it because when we had our meeting this winter and decided how we were going to spend our money, we kind of threw out all the options and it was pretty unanimous. Everybody, 16 kids on there, I think. Everybody was like, yeah, let's do the burritos. And they gave up embroidered jackets to buy breakfast for everybody else. And I mm-hmm. thought, that's just a real show of character, mm-hmm. that they care enough about this program to try to help kind of mend, some of the tension. There'll always be tension when there's competition.
Oh, yeah.
But we need to remember that it needs to be healthy competition and that this really is a youth program and a youth development program. Mm-hmm. So I am so proud of these kids for the decisions they've made to help improve the program. I think that's such a big deal. Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Sage. I'd like to talk about now more related to just our family, not the whole club, but our family, and not just our 4-H livestock, but all the livestock and the things we do together. I want to talk about what life is like when we're doing livestock life together. Like, what does that look like? You know, what are the conversations that happen? You know, what kind of things do you feel like are really meaningful that happened because we're working animals together?
Chores in the morning when you're milking or when I'm cleaning pens or just feeding my animals, working 4-H livestock or whatever. The conversations we have, we can talk about stuff we're doing that day or stuff that happened the day before, or if I went and hung out with my friends the night before, I talk about that. It's just a good time to talk.
So do you think that kind of like greases the wheels of communication with like parents and kids?
Probably.
Between us, like, because we're not sitting across the table staring at each other, we're working.
Yeah.
And so it makes it a little easier to just say whatever we want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is it always pleasant?
No.
That was a quick answer. Sometimes when you're working animals, it's hard and tense and stressful, and sometimes we get a little snappy at each other.
Yeah.
But we get over it pretty fast. Because we have to.
Yeah.
It's usually the long days when we have to work all the goats. And you're my pro goat holder. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that makes things pretty hard. We're all tired and it's a lot to do. So when you're doing all these livestock projects and you have your livestock chores, now that you're older, what is your motivation to go do it without me reminding you? What motivates you?
I probably habit mostly. I habit, and I also don't want to sit around and worry about it all day long, and it helps get your day going, unless it's a lot of chores and you're tired by the time you get done with them.
Right, so you're really good at just getting up and getting it done. How do you feel when your chores are done in the morning?
Pretty good, unless you have that really long winter where I had to plow as well, and I didn't get morning chores until 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, and though that's a rare thing, but it's reality in this life, is that sometimes there isn't morning chores. It's all day chores.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. Yeah.
It's like it's all you do.
Well, and while we bring that up and while we're talking about it, what does that teach us? What do you learn from when morning chores went from 2 hours to 8 hours?
Resiliency, I guess.
Yeah. Like, it has to be done no matter what,
yeah.
right? So you just as well do it and try to have fun while you're doing it, at least smile while you're doing it, right?
Try to not cry as you see the snow being 3 feet deep.
Yes, winter is definitely not your favorite season.
No,
not winter. And we have winter here, so.
Very cold.
Yeah. Another big component in the 4-H program, Sage, is leadership. Mm-hmm. So what did leadership look like when you were younger in 4-H, and what does it look like now?
They would send us to tell everybody, you go sweep over here, or you take care of the trash bags, that kind of thing, just little tasks. And now I've worked up towards teaching other kids how to show livestock and take care of them and fit them.
Right. And I think that progression's pretty important. Like, we give you these little jobs in the beginning so that you get comfortable giving direction and giving it in a way that people want to hear it and listen to it, or even leading the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever for our first years. That's a big one. And then we progress you in leadership skills to the point now where I can say, hey, Sage, we've got 6 kids coming over. Can you work showmanship with them? And off you go. And you feel confident in doing that now, right?
For the most part, yes. Lambs, definitely. Goats, I'm all right. I mean, they're not my favorite, but I can do that. Yeah. And then the hogs, yes, I
feel
can.
Really good with hog showmanship. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're heading into Fair Week. This will air the Monday of Fair Week. I think I mentioned that once. How do you feel? How do you feel going into Fair?
I'm excited about it. It'll be a busy Fair Week, but it'll be good. It's sad to see it be my last year, but it'll be good.
Right. I remember the first year you sold your pig.
Yeah.
And you cried, so I cried, and that was the year I told you, you can cry in the sale ring twice. Mm-hmm. When you sell your first one and when you sell your last one.
Yeah.
I suspect there will be some tears.
Yeah.
But what a run it's been. 10 years of awesome experiences. Some really, really hard experiences. But they've all grown you. Can you... I know this is a big, hard question. Either describe or summarize your 4-H experience.
life-changing. I wouldn't be the person that I am today without it.
That's pretty big statement there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for our listeners who may be parents that have kids? And pretty much everybody that listens to me is either raising goats, wants to raise goats, or wants to raise livestock and get self-sufficient. What would your advice be as far as chores and, raising kids with livestock, as far as the benefits that you experienced growing up raising animals?
Let your kids help with the regular outside chores with the animals and give them their own little chores to do. Then they feel good about themselves. They accomplish something every day. Gives them a start.
Do you think that when they do that, when you give little kids chores, that they kind of rise to the occasion? I remember we pushed you pretty hard on some chores. I remember watching you struggle with a feed sack, and you were so little, but you were like, I do it myself.
Yeah.
And you did. You figured it out. You figured out how to open the sack and take some of the feed out so you could move the sack.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times...
I figured out a lot of problem solving.
You did. And I think a lot of times we want to protect kids from that, but that's not the right thing to do. Like, we need to let you watch you struggle to the point of almost frustration, but not go beyond that point.
Yeah.
Step in and help when you can't do it.
Yeah.
But let you try. Mm-hmm. And then there's just this huge sense of accomplishment when you do get it done yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think for us, the way we were viewing that is if we don't trust you with the little things, how are we going to trust you with the big things?
Yeah.
And so we gave you a lot of responsibility, and we do it with the other kids too. We give you a lot of responsibility so that you learn how to make good decisions, and when you're older, you'll make good decisions.
Yeah.
At least I hope you will. I think you're doing pretty good so far.
Hope so.
Well, Sage, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. I know you were a little bit hesitant about that, but I'm grateful. And I'm confident that something you said today is going to make a huge difference in someone's life.
I hope so.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anything
Thank
else
you.
you'd like to share?
I can't think of anything at the moment.
All right. Well, I guess we better get back to work, huh? We got a lot of county fair prep to do.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Thanks, Sage.
You're welcome.
That was fun. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I know I'm a little biased, but Sage is a pretty amazing kid. Well, adult. I think she shared some unique insights from her perspective about chores, raising animals, and participating in the 4-H livestock program. If you liked the interview or have more questions for Sage, head on over to the free community and comment or ask her some questions, and I'll get her in there to answer. Hey there. Thanks for listening today. I'm so glad you're here. If this episode helped you or encouraged you in some way, share the link with your homesteading friends. And if you really want to help me out, click on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and a review. You can connect with me on Instagram or email linked in the show notes, and meet me back here soon for more Get Goat Wise.